According to Karl Marx, the socialist revolution was right around the corner, as the lives of the workers would clearly get worse and worse and worse, until, with nothing left to lose and nothing left to live for, utterly miserable, revolution would explode the old bourgeois world. And yet, it didn't. Why is that? Why was that? How did feminism fit into this result? And fashion? These and other questions will be answered right after this. I'm Professor Jerome Arkenberg, and I've been teaching a wide variety of history courses at colleges across this country for the past 30 years. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how technology and the Industrial Revolution gave women socio-economic independence from men for the first time in forever. Second, how feminism and suffrage aided and advanced this socio-economic independence. And finally, how all this led to changes, slow but continuing changes, in women's clothing and fashions. At the end, I'll have the wrap-up quote on this video. But first, make sure to click like, share, and especially subscribe, and that little bell thingy, so I can continue to bring you more great videos just like this one. Modern feminism begins with Mary Wollstonecraft, born in 1759 and dies in 1797, whose 1792 publication, Vindication of the Rights of Women, which was written in response to the patriarchalism of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, not only challenged accepted notions of so-called God-given distinctions between men and women, but also argued against the identification of woman with sexuality, for, as she stated, it simply enslaves and corrupts women, and through them, society as a whole. John Stuart Mill, heavily influenced by his feminist wife, Harriet Taylor, both of whom are shown here, counterposed reason to instinct in his 1869 The Subjugation of Women, arguing that reason requires eliminating different treatment of individuals based on gender. So women should be given equality in citizenship and civil liberty to bring about a society based on freedom and rationality. Meanwhile, the anarchist Emma Goldman, was born in 1869 and dies in 1940, said that women suffered as much from popular patriarchal notions that led them to low self-esteem and beliefs in their own inadequacy in a socio-economic legal system that guaranteed sexual inequality. So suffrage alone, votes for women, would not change matters a bit without the destruction of the entire patriarchal system. But arguably, rather than the efforts of these early feminists, it was perhaps the vast number of technological inventions and innovations emerging from industrialization, such as gas heating, piped water, electric lighting, ice boxes, and later refrigerators, carpet sweepers, vacuum cleaners, gas stoves, washing and sewing machines, and other labor-saving devices, meant a lessening of a housewife's daily cleaning and cooking routine. And yes, I did say housewife, and homemaker, because this was still a patriarchal society, and those were still considered the roles of women. But these labor-saving devices allowed more time for these women to do what they will, while canning, invented in 1809 by Nicolas Appert to better feed Napoleon's armies, but only after 1815 that Brian Duncan and John Hall's new process enabled food to be sealed airtight in Peter Durand's invention of the tin can. Anyway, this allowed women to cease their daily trips to a market for perishables like fruit, meat, and vegetables. Though I should say, canned goods only became truly popular after 1855, when this thing, the can opener, was first invented. Yes, the can opener was invented nearly 2 generations after the can was invented. Some things just don't seem obvious. And then the appearance of the first modern grocery store, Clarence Saunders, the picture you see here, Piggly Wiggly, in Memphis, Tennessee in 1916, allowed housewives not just a greater variety of canned and packaged goods than ever before, but also an end of the daily or near daily trip to a general store. These and other advances gave women time to work outside the home, to be independent for the first time in history, to no longer have to depend upon men for food, housing, clothing, or shelter, and started a radical transformation of family structures and demands for a say in government. This first took the form of suffrage, or votes for women, in Britain and America, with suffragettes rationally demonstrating that sex could not justify the denial of the rights and privileges of citizenship by claiming that such differences could only be justified by showing their relevance to the distinction being made. Still, the struggle for women's suffrage was long and difficult. Wyoming was the first place to give regular voting rights to women in 1869, followed by New Zealand in 1893, Australia in 1895, Finland in 1905, Norway and Denmark in 1913, then Canada, the Soviet Union, Germany, Poland, and Britain in 1918, Holland in 1919, America in 1920, and France not until 1946. Practical needs also achieved what the pronouncements of feminists could not in terms of clothing and fashion. The American Libby Miller, in 1855, invented a more rational costume of loose trousers gathered at the ankles, topped by a short dress or skirt and vest, which, when worn by the suffragette Amelia Bloomer, was immediately popular among women, even if derided by men as bloomers, which especially took off along with the cycling craze of the late 19th century. For much of the 19th century, feminists, preachers, physicians, and journalists inveighed against the vanity and frivolity of women who sacrificed their health for fashion in terms of corsets, which were thought necessary for beauty, health, and an upright posture. An upright posture is very important to the Victorians, because if you slouched, as this woman here, it was a sure sign of moral degeneracy. And of course, besides corsets, there were also bustles and extensive, heavy petticoats. The wrap-up quote. The close of the 19th century finds every trade, vocation, and profession open to women, and every opportunity at their command for preparing themselves to follow these occupations. Colleges and universities are freely open to both girls and boys, and women may receive degrees from professions without hindrance, including from legal, medical, and theological colleges. Woman is no longer compelled to marry for support, but may herself make her own home and earn her own financial independence. In nearly every state, women may sue and be sued, testify in the courts, and carry on business in their own name. In most cases of divorce or separation, courts and juries show a marked leniency toward women. The Department of Politics has been slowest to give admission to women, but even this stronghold is beginning to yield to the long and steady pressure. Women are becoming more and more interested in political questions and public affairs, and now efforts are made by politicians to obtain the support of women. Susan B. Anthony, 1897. So let me know what you think of this quote in the comment section below. Also, what you liked about this video, and what other historical topics or subjects you'd like to see in future videos. Be sure to click like, share, and especially subscribe, as it will help me bring you more great videos just like this one, and click on that little bell thingy so you'll know when the next History Waits for No One video is posted. If you want to know more, there are recommended studies on this topic in the description below, along with other ways to connect with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the past.